Hello everyone, welcome back to another YouTube tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll create a simple Notepad application in Python programming language. For this tutorial, we'll use a built-in Python library called Tkinter, which basically allows you to create desktop applications with ease. It is extremely beginner-friendly, meaning that you can learn it quite quickly and get started with it without any problems. So let's go ahead and create a new main.py file in which we'll write our Notepad clone code. Here at the top, I'm going to import Tkinter as tk. Tk is an alias for Tkinter, so instead of typing tkinter dot something, we will say tk dot something, and that's going to be extremely more comfortable. After that, I'm going to create a class for my Notepad app, call it Notepad, and it is going to inherit from tk.tk. tk.tk is our window. And let's create initializer, not like that, like this. And I'm going to call super.init to actually call the mechanism of creating a new window from this tk.tk. Then here I'm going to not modify, but configure my window a little bit so that it fits my desire. Here I'll say self.geometry maybe, and it's going to be 600 by 600. It is going to be a perfect square. Then I'm going to say self.title to change the title of my window. It is going to be Notepad clone, then self.resizable will be false and false so that user cannot resize the window. Then self.current file is going to be none. This is going to hold the file path of the current file with which we are working. Then I'll call create UI function, which will create the UI, like different UI elements like buttons, menu bars, what else, text field, etc. Let's create that method, create UI, self, and pass here. After this create UI function call, we're going to say self.main loop in order to actually run this window and display it. Yeah, inside of this create UI file, I'm going to create a couple of UI elements. The first one is going to be menu. Menu is going to be menu, tk.menu, and the master of it, the master element, is going to be our main window. The menu is an object and a UI element similar to these. We'll get it at the top of our window, and we'll be able to do various operations by pressing that, like saving a file, opening a new file, what else, creating a file, etc. So that is quite essential UI elements. Then I'm going to create a sub menu inside of my menu. For example, this whole element is going to be our main menu, and file menu is going to be this specific thing, tk.menu, then menu, tier of is going to be 0. Tier of 0 basically makes our sub menu much more modern. The other option that you can go with here is 1, which is quite outdated version. So yeah, we'll go with tier of 0 here to achieve a much more modern result. Then file menu.add command label of it is going to be save. This is going to be our main first command. Then command equals to save self.save file. This is going to be another function, another method that will create in a second. For now, I'm going to pass here so that it does not complain. Then file menu.add command, yet another command. It is going to be open, then command equals to self.open file. Def open file self pass. Then what else? File menu.add command. This is going to be new, so we'll create a new instance of our current working file, and we can later on save that newly created file somewhere in our file system. Command self.new file. Let me create it quite quickly as well. At the top, self, and pass as well. Next up, I think we have to attach this file menu to our menu by saying menu.add cascade. Then label of it is going to be file. Then what menu, file menu, like that. Then the next submenu in our list is going to be help menu, which will have only two commands inside of it. First one being help and second one being quit. What we have to say here, we have to say menu, then tier of will be 0. Then help menu dot add command, label will be about, and command self dot about screen. This is going to open another floating window which will contain a small label inside of it, which provides a mini help about information about our application. By this we'll learn how to create new separate windows in Tkinter library. It is done by saying top level. I'll show you how that works in a second, but let us create another command here. Add command label quit like that. Then command will be quit. This quit there is this quit function in Python which terminates to the current working application, but that's why we are providing this function here. But if we were to provide this with parentheses, it will automatically quit the application without even running it, because we are quitting our application. That's why we have to provide a plain reference to that function. Tkinter, when we press that command, Tkinter will take that function and just call it on its own. Yeah. Then finally, let's attach our help menu to our main menu at cascade. Label help and menu will be help menu, like that. Then self.config menu equals to menu to attach this menu to our main window. Then I'll have the main body of our application, which is going to be self.text area and tk.text. In Tkinter we have tk.entry, which is a smaller version of text entry widget, and the other one is this tk.text, which is a large text area where you can write multi-line input. In our Notepad clone application, we want to write large amount of text. That's why it would be more appropriate for us to use this text area. Then self.textArea.pack. In order to attach it to our main window, expand to be, it will be true in order for it to take up the whole available space, and fill will be both. Yeah, if main, if name equals to main, I'll call app equals to Notepad. Yeah, if we now run this app, we should get a nice UI elements that we have created here, but the functionality will not be working in that case because we have not implemented these three functions. So let's try to run this app and check if we will get the proper UI. And I received an error. Oh, because we are missing that command about screen, right? Yeah, about screen self pass. Now let's try to run it, and we indeed get this nice window with this menu and text area where we can write our text. Yeah, now let's go ahead and implement these functionalities. So now save file function, we will first things first check if not self.current file. If we don't have any current file, I'm going to ask the user for the file by opening up the file dialog. For that we have to say import tkinter.file dialog, and file dialog from Tkinter import file dialog, maybe file dialog dot what we have to say ask save file name. Then if not file, I'll just return self.current file, otherwise it will be assigned to our file. This is going to be a full absolute file path which uses selects from the new pop-up file window. Yeah, Then here text content is going to be self.textArea.get 0tk.end with open self.current file in a writer mode as file. No, we already have file, that's why I'm going to say it just f so that they don't conflict each other. Then file f.write my file, not file but text content, right? Alright, that should be it for our save file function. Now let's go ahead and implement our open file method. Here similarly we're going to ask the user for file dialog equals to ask open file name. Then if not file, then just return. Then self.current file equals to file, then with open, I'm going to read this file, self.current file in a reader mode as f. Text content equals to f.read. Then I'm going to set this text content, newly read text content, to my text widget here. So first things first, I have to clear the current content of my text area widget, self.textArea.delete from the first index to the end. Then self.textArea.insert my from the first area with this index. Then I have to provide my content that I want to insert. So it's going to be text content like that. Then new file is going to be a bit more straightforward. Current content is going to be self.textArea.get, then tk.end. If current content self.save file, we want to save the current content to its respective file if some kind of file is open. Otherwise we are going to totally abandon that text that has been written. Then self.current file equals to none. Then self.textArea.delete tk.end, like that. Now the last function that we have to implement is this about screen. Here we need to create a new window instance, which is done by saying tk.topLevel. New window equals to tk.topLevel. Then new window.geometry, I'm going to make it quite small. New window.resizable false. This is resizable in horizontal axis on the x-axis, and this is responsible for resizability in y-axis. So you can toggle them however you want, for example true false or false true. Yeah, that's totally up to you. Then I'm going to create one text element inside of this new window, which is going to be tk.label. New window is going to be its master. Then text is going to be some small about information about our application. This is a simple Notepad clone app implemented in Tkinter with Python, something like that. Then I'm going to provide this wrap length attribute, which is basically going to add some line break to our text if it gets too long. So I'm going to say 300 here because the width of our new window is 300 pixels, as you can see, and we are basically saying this: if the length of this string gets greater than 300, we will automatically add a new line break after that. Here I will say label.pack, expand to true for it to take all the space available and fill both. We can provide here x, y, and both as well. So yeah, that should be it for our simple Notepad application. Now let's try to run this app to see if it is working correctly or not. So run it, and let's write something actually here. This is my first text content in my Notepad app. Now save this file, save, and now let me create file here, text.txt, text1.txt, and save it, select my text.txt, say yes, and it wasn't written here. Oh, save file. Why it is not writing to that file? Let me try that one more time. Run. Hello world. Then save it. Text.txt. Now open that, and for some reason I don't have anything inside of it. Let me quickly check my file. Let me print my text content and solve the text area. Run this app. Clear. Run it manually. Python main.py. Hello world. Now as I press this button, it should print out hello world to the console. And yeah, indeed I have. Expect a string, but not text. Something is wrong with this current file. This needs to be file name. My bad. I finally found that error. How do I close this? Python main.py. Now this should work. This is my first text in my Notepad app. Now let's save it finally. Text.txt, and let's open that up. And indeed I have my text. This file and file name was the issue. This should have been file name, not file. Now let's open new instance, then say hello world. Then save it and give it the name hello.txt. Now hello.txt contains this hello world message. Now let's open that text.txt file by saying open text.txt, and we indeed have this text. Yeah, this file functionality is working quite well. Now let's try to open up about window, and we have this small little window here which contains this nice information text about our application. This is a simple Notepad clone app implemented in Tkinter with Python. And the final function that we have to check is this quit. If I press this, our window should close. Yeah. So yeah, this is how you implement a simple Notepad clone application in Tkinter with Python programming language. If you found this video helpful, please let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really motivates me to keep creating such interesting programming tutorials for free. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.